if you're still blasting out thousands of emails with your offer, just generic one-liners or quick question, and you're hitting, 10, 20,000 prospects thinking volume negates luck, then this is a video to fix that, because gone are the days where that is an effective cold email strategy because of platforms like MailScale that have really productized the ability to send out volume and remove the skill from it. Anyone can do it. And that means you need to get clever. So in this video, you're going to learn exactly how you can make prospecting your greatest advantage, how to build targeted lead lists. And I'm even going to go over examples of how you can create some truly, truly powerful campaigns inside Clay to get reply rates of 7, 8, 9, 10% and positive reply rates of 2, 3, 4, 5%. So let's dive in. And to start, in case you're not taking me seriously, this isn't some beginner tutorial or cookie cutter template. I'm not going to show you emails to send. I'm going to give you some examples and frameworks for how you can build campaign briefings that are going to be successful for you and give you the fundamentals necessary to figure out campaign briefings, either for clients, if you're a lead gen agency owner, or if you're trying to sell your own products, give you the tools necessary to be able to ideate a creative, unique campaign for yourselves. So, without high-intent targeted prospecting, your campaigns and copy will end up directionless. You won't truly know who you're targeting, your sales assets will fall flat, and your domains are going to get burned. All in all, this is going to cost you money. This is going to cost you a lot of time by wasting sales assets. You're going to burn leads and potentially ruin contacts. And honestly, it's just a waste of time. Maybe you'll get lucky and get a couple clients, but what you really want is high-intent prospecting. With this, you can easily answer the why you, why now, which helps copy resonate with your prospect. You can build rapport by showing outsized effort, which is a theme I want you to remember. Cold outreach is about showing outsized effort. When you stand out in the inbox, you're standing out because you're showing effort and you're answering the why you, why now. If you can do both of these things well, you're going to be extremely successful with cold outreach. So keep that in mind and think about that as you go, because we're going to dive into later a couple of examples of what that looks like and how you might be able to do it yourself. Your domains and deliverability will skyrocket, and you'll get more results with less leads and leads that are far less likely to be burned. So what do I mean by this? Oftentimes, if we send an email that's really, really targeted and good, sometimes they'll just refer someone to us, especially because email is what I'm selling. When someone sees a really well-researched email that answers the why you, why now, builds rapport, they think, oh, you know what? I don't need this right now, but actually I have a friend that does. And that's been a common occurrence. So how do you build great lead lists? It starts with the rule of one. Most of the time, people think that their target audience is a type of business or a type of person, or really just anyone, because anyone could have the problem that they're looking to solve. But really, what you need to do is think about this rule of one as something multiplicative. The more ones you can add, and the more overlap a single individual has with all these ones, the better your campaign's going to be and the more effort you're going to show. So one business, one person, one problem could turn into one trigger, one type of person they're hiring, and so on and so forth, which I'll show you some more examples of that, angles and triggers as we go on. And all in all, you're going to be trying to sell this one business, one person, one problem, one solution. And all of a sudden, you seem like the perfect fit for them. Hormozi talks a lot about this, but I feel like his words have been bent into creating offers that are truly a race to the bottom. And if you continue sending email at volume the way many people are, you'll end up stuck in that rat race of always trying to one-up someone else's offer instead of truly getting inside the minds of your prospect. So let's focus on one and how to create one. We create one by starting with the problem and reverse engineering towards the solution. We ask ourselves what businesses could have the problem and what people this problem may affect. For example, a SaaS founder with over 2,000 followers that hasn't posted much in the last 30 days and doesn't have a content person on the team. So we have a problem here. Someone who's not posting content regularly in order to generate leads. This is the problem we're trying to solve. So we need to find intent. Intent is someone having followers and posting irregularly. So they've built up a following over a certain amount of time. They're posting irregularly, which means that they're trying to post, but maybe they don't have the time. And they don't have a content person on the team, which means that they can't outsource it internally. Now, you say, I'm an expert in helping SaaS do this, and you found your one business. So you've taken your problem that you're solving and you've reverse engineered it into a unique campaign angle. I imagine you must be too busy for content right now. And in this next example, I'll show you what that looks like in the form of a actual email that you could send. So another example might be a SaaS founder actively posting any follower account that has been active on social media with over 5 posts in the last month and doesn't have a content person on the team. So they're getting there. They're posting quite a bit. Maybe they're not quite growing, so you have a different angle. So you hit them with what's called poking the bear. And you can learn more about this principle by searching up Josh Braun, who is a fantastic sales copywriter. So, poking the bear. Look, I wonder if you have a clear plan in place for scaling and monetizing on socials. This pokes the bear. It goes, hey, I've noticed you've been active on social media, on LinkedIn. But I'm wondering, based on what I'm seeing, if you actually have a plan in place for making use of this time you're spending. This pokes the bear in the sense that they're going internally in their minds, man, am I actually spending my time well on social media right now if I'm not growing and I'm not getting leads? This gives you an opening to transition seamlessly into your offer. You've answered the why you, why now. You've poked the bear and make them think they have a problem. You've found, an individual that addresses the idea of one, and you can then pitch them, We help them stop spending 6 months figuring shit out phase and go straight to scaling and monetizing. Unique offer, doesn't have super specific numbers, but resonates with SaaS founders. So this is all fine and dandy. You can think of like any campaign you want, but how do you get to one? How do you make this happen? Now, it starts with a few tools. So the tools we use to find businesses are G2, Latka, Crunchbase, and Clutch. Now, with G2, you can get a bunch of different businesses. It can be a great starting point, but you don't really know if they have funding. Latka is amazing, but when you scrape this, don't pay for it, please. When you scrape this, you're going to end up losing your account because they're aware. So you'll have to keep creating new accounts if you want to continue scraping it. And this has a ton of SaaS businesses, like 25,000. Crunchbase is going to be awesome. You can qualify that they have funding. You can do really creative campaigns. And then you have Clutch for a bunch of agencies. From there, to find contacts, you're going to want to use platforms like Apollo, which is really just gold standard, LinkedIn Sales Navigator, and Didagma. This is going to give you specific information that you can use to find problems and to showcase outsized effort. So Apollo, you're going to be able to take your list of businesses and websites, upload them to Apollo. From there, you can get specific lead lists of contacts. For example, one business may want to talk to sales directors or a VP of sales, like my business. You can do the same with Didagma and the same with LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Honestly, across these 3 tools, it's down to preference, but I'm a big fan of Apollo, and I plan on using LinkedIn Sales Navigator more in the future. Now, to find problems, you're going to want to use Clay as a main source, but you can also find problems using things like Crunchbase. So, for example, if you wanted to source deal flow for a VC, right? And that was your job, you would maybe want to target VCs that have only invested twice in their entire journey as a VC. That's kind of an indicator that maybe they could use some help finding deals, and maybe you can come in and fill in the gaps there. There's literally thousands of data points to think about here, so I won't go into too much detail, but you can also find extra information to personalize off of using LinkedIn groups, events, communities, and post interactions. All of these can be great. And when it comes down to scraping the data from these databases here, the cheap version An easy version is Instant Data Scraper. And then you can take that and find websites using TextAU. But if you want to get more advanced, I would highly recommend API-Fi and Octoparse. They'll let you build easy custom scraping modules. You can use ChatGPT or Gemini to figure out how to make it better. So I probably should have added ChatGPT in here because finding problems is only half the battle. So where the money is made, triggers. I call them triggers because they trigger your prospect to think about the problems they're having, or think about why you found them, or think about why you're contacting them. They trigger in their mind why you're here. And triggers also can be used for qualifying your lead lists. So these are entirely dependent on what you're selling, but here's some examples of triggers. Headcount growth, hiring for specific positions. Example, you're looking to be a copywriter or a social media manager, and you see a business is hiring social media managers. You can maybe come in and fill the gap at a cheaper rate and argue that you do more for less. Not having a specific position on the team. For example, I'll be making a video about a campaign we just ran where we ran it only to people that are first-time founders and lack a VP of sales. You can then personalize the message and be like, notice, I couldn't find a VP of sales on your team and figured I'd reach out since you're a first-time founder like me. Do you have any strategies in place for a cold outreach? Yada, yada, yada. Poke the bear, why you, why now, showcased outsized effort. So let's speed through this because I really want to showcase some examples to you guys of how powerful this concept can be. So you have a specific problem. You could have a specific position on the team. You could be looking at a prospect that's joining LinkedIn events about a specific topic, groups, not having certain technologies on the website or technologies they use. Are they recently funded? Do they share investors with your client or yourself? Did they recently have negative publicity? Do they have a lot of website visitors or not much at all? As you think about it, you can think about how these triggers can relate to different types of offers and to different types of problems that you could solve. So there's really infinite triggers out there. You have to think about creatively, what is a trigger that qualifies someone or helps you showcase outsized effort to someone that is, your ideal customer profile. So how can you get started? Campaign briefings. You start with the person and idea after you figure out the problem you're trying to solve. And from there, a briefing should be the grandest version of your campaign and attempt to break the limits of what's possible. From there, I dial it back as I discover what's too hard to do and what's worth doing versus not worth doing. Or potentially, I just realized that, hey, I thought I was going to do a campaign about people looking to hire SDRs, and only 50 people are looking to hire SDRs right now. Seems like a huge waste of time. So be mindful that your campaign briefing is not be all end all. For instance, we did a campaign that was all about trust because it was for a Web3 company, one of our clients. We wanted people and companies who were backed by the same investors, which means they have money plus mutual connections, and we can immediately go, hey, saw you're backed by Dragonfly as well. Wanted to reach out because I saw you're doing XYZ based on your website. You've answered the why you, why now. You've built rapport, and you're ready to dive into some other things. Attended similar blockchain events. We're going to attend future blockchain events. Split by B2B and B2C because that determines the type of offer being presented. And didn't have a compliance officer on the team. Anyone who did got a different campaign with different messaging. This is how targeted I'm telling you to be because this is how you yield amazing results. Imagine this email versus an email that goes, hey, we offer compliance for Web3 companies. The difference is night and day, and it's all about outsized effort, answering the why now, and focusing on one person, business, problem, and solution. So going down the pipeline, some of these things ended up being useless, but we knew we had to scrape the attendees of events that our client had attended, scrape Crunchbase for a lookalike campaign, and we knew all the steps that we had to take to make this campaign happen, which makes everything coherent. You're not lost prospecting. You start with the idea and you chase the perfect version of it. That's why you do a campaign briefing. So some examples of this: a ghostwriting agency. Founders, owners, etc., with over 2,000 followers on LinkedIn that post less than 5 times per month, don't have a content/copywriting person on their team, and don't have a sales leader on their team. Why? The reason you want to do this is because if they lack a sales leader on their team, they probably don't have anything in place for generating leads. You can upsell them on potentially a combination of ghostwriting and DMing. I have a good friend doing something like that. You see that they have over 2,000 followers on LinkedIn. They're posting less than 5 times a month, and they don't have a content/copywriting person on their team, which basically means they can't outsource it, like I said earlier with the earlier example, and they're likely going to want someone to take their place because they have followers and there's a potential to monetize these followers and create leads. So let's look at the second example, cybersecurity. First-time enterprise SaaS founders that currently lack cybersecurity experts on the team but have recent funding. Now, a first-time enterprise SaaS founder is likely going to be someone that lacks connections and doesn't have as much experience. This is a good thing for you. First-time founders generally need help and they're figuring stuff out. You can use this to your advantage by giving them a great offer on cybersecurity. If they lack cybersecurity experts but have funding, you've qualified that they have money and they potentially have a need. Now, if we were to go a step deeper, which I'm not a cybersecurity expert, and this is where domain understanding and domain experience comes in, if you know that a certain tech stack is vulnerable to attack, then hit first-time founders without experts on the team and are actively using that tech stack on their website. You can then send them an audit and make an informed decision about your sales asset to provide them a quick audit on why you know that their current tech stack is vulnerable to attack and how you'd be happy to show them or implement for them exactly how they can fix this gap and to potentially save them money or downtime or whatever. Email marketing. Websites that have the keyword newsletter from businesses with over 10,000 website visitors a month that lack a copywriter on the team. Now, we would go a step deeper, depending on who's selling this, to the type of business. So, this could be SaaS, this could be an agency of some sort, SEO, whatever, but you're qualifying their need for someone to do a better job with their newsletter by the lack of a copywriter on the team or an email marketer. You're qualifying that they have a newsletter by scraping their website with keywords, and you're going over only businesses that actually could use the enhancements to their newsletter by only targeting businesses with significant traffic that could benefit heavily from someone running their newsletter effectively. So I hope you guys are seeing what I'm getting at here. I hope these examples really helped you. If you're looking to figure out how to implement something like this into your business, if you're looking to scale a cold outreach offer, one, I would highly recommend checking out Clay with my link below. All of these unique campaigns where you reference colleagues of the person or notice that they don't have someone on the team and can reference that on a per lead basis. All of these campaigns that mention website visitors, etc., can be done with ease using Clay. It integrates with ChatGPT, so you can use AI to write and personalize these emails and just build kick-ass campaigns. So do that. But if you want help building out an entire system for finding your ideal clients, just like some of these above, tailored to you, book a consultation below with myself. I'll only be doing 4 every month. So if you need help, definitely take advantage, and I'll see you next time.